joined by Chris, and you're listening to the only podcast that can be heard everywhere from Gotham City to Pallet Town.
you,
So
you cheesy fuck.
I'm working on it.
You
We're
were
working
waiting
on
to
these
you were
intros as we
waiting to
go.
do that one for weeks, eh?
Yeah, a little bit. I probably should have practiced it a little better.
Yeah,
Oh,
but like you said, today we're here talking about the original Xbox and our first memories. Um, do you remember the first time you heard about it, or any first thoughts about it?
my first memory of original Xbox was probably receiving it. I mean, it was a long. It was definitely pretty long time ago. I think it was. I got the original Xbox the Christmas of 2004, I believe.
Okay, so
And
you got it a few years after it came out.
yeah, and I didn't
Yeah,
realize until I traced back in preparation for this, didn't realize how small of a window I actually had with the original Xbox between getting it in '04 and I think I had a 360 by '07. So it was actually one of
yeah,
the systems I probably had the smallest time with, but I do have a lot of memories in that time. I don't know how exactly you got the system, but when I got it for Christmas, I got the Star Wars Clone Wars slash Tetris World bundle and I remember playing Clone Wars and never touching Tetris World. I
I
don't
don't
know
think
about you. I don't know.
I don't think anyone played Tetris World, man.
Yeah, I don't. I'll be honest. Like, and it might be like blasphemy to gamers, but like, I never dug any Tetris, even like Doctor
No,
Mario. The
no,
same
I
way.
didn't like Doctor Mario or anything.
You might as well
But
give me one of those like grade school math games. I liked those more than that shit.
do you remember? This is way off topic, but with grade school, do you remember playing in like grade one and two, going on computer time and playing Pajama Sam and Freddy the
Oh,
Fish?
Pajama Sam, I played at home actually. I got that Pajama
Oh,
Sam. I
did you
got
have it?
box.
Yeah, what was it on Freddy the Fish or something? And it was like
Oh,
a
I don't.
mystery. You don't
I
remember
don't. I can't remember that one to be honest. I definitely remember Pajama Sam.
that? Those were
The main
good
one I
games.
remember from grade school is Math Circus. That's the main one I remember.
Oh yeah, the Bat Circus game. Yeah,
Yeah, making
when
those
those
clowns
fuckers would
spray each other with water, making those elephants hop over each other.
yeah. Or when we couldn't use Google for some reason, so we had to use Ask Jeeves.
Oh yeah,
They wouldn't let us use Google. We had to use Ask Jeeves.
that was the wild west of the internet back in those days.
Yeah.
So
The fuck is Ask Jeeves? Fuck.
yeah, yeah, that does not exist anymore, does it?
I don't have no idea.
Siri murdered Jeeves. Siri buried Jeeves.
Oh yeah. Fuck, that's crazy.
But yeah, so
Yeah, well
what's your first
back on
memories?
topic though. Oh yeah, early memories. It was a weird time for like that I remember back then because our brothers got that they got to, be a part of that 16, 8-bit to 16-bit to, the 3D with the PlayStation N64, and it felt like it was finally our time to fasten on our seatbelts, and now we were gonna take that ride into the next generation, right? Like we were
Yeah,
coming
that's a good way
from,
of looking at it.
yeah, we were coming from the N64, PlayStation, late Sega Saturn, stuff like that, into this new generation where like we didn't know what was gonna happen, but we knew the games were gonna be bigger, badder, better. You know, on was gonna be a big thing coming forward. So it was one of those, it was weird. It was a weird feeling, but it was a great thing to be a kid and experience this new art of gaming. But when I felt like when the Xbox first came out, we lost a lot of the arcades because they're like when the PlayStation 2, Xbox stuff, arcades really started to fade out. Did you ever feel that?
Yeah, I agree, and I mean, I guess you can really the evidence of that is the popularity of the games in ports. Like when you play those older systems, and there was always demand to have that arcade on the console, and I guess it got
Yeah,
to a point where maybe people, at least the consumer, felt like maybe the console had advanced past the arcade in general.
yeah,
But
because like in the
absolutely.
earlier system for sure, that's what they were doing. Everyone wants it at home, but once that next gen kicked in the 2000s, arcades were pretty much non-existent,
Yeah, yeah,
especially around where we are. Like they were,
yeah.
you know, dime a
We use,
dozen and stuff.
especially in that time period. Like I would say, there's more now than back then because now you have that nostalgia boost for the arcades and playing the old games and stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah, that was probably the lowest point for arcades was that year, early 2000s.
Yeah, but our like we were like you, like we got the system not not when you got it, but we must have got it in I want to say late 2002, maybe 2003-ish.
Right.
But we were in a weird position because we didn't know what system to get at this point, right? Like we had the N64. And to be honest with you, when we were deciding, the GameCube was the first one that we weren't gonna get. We
Yeah,
definitely didn't want the we definitely didn't want the GameCube. Reason being, it was more child friendly. Like that's what all the magazines and stuff were saying, that GameCube was more, the child friendly console. Not saying it didn't have great games, because let's
yeah.
like it had like great titles, but that was completely off the table for our family. So it's between the PS2 and obviously the Xbox. And actually, why we went to Xbox, I don't know if you remember, my brother's friend Omar. I don't know if that rings a name.
Oh, yeah. I remember him. I absolutely
You
remember him.
remember Omar? Well, this kid had everything, and his father had bought him the Xbox on launch day. So my
Oh,
brother was always going. Yeah, my brother was always going over there playing the Xbox. So he was putting it in our head, hey, let's get the Xbox, let's get the Xbox. But like we were still unsure. But I went over there one time, and the first game we played was Halo.
oh, the first Halo. Oh, nice.
Yeah, first game
Oh, the
we played
first
was
game to play.
Halo. Yeah, and we were hooked. We were hooked on it. So we went to my father and we were begging him, like, hey, we wanna get the Xbox, but my dad didn't have the money up front. So back then, I don't know if you ever used it, your family, but do you remember when Walmart used to do layaway?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So we went there and we put my brother's birthday, my birthday, both in March. So he's the 21st, I'm the 23rd. So my dad went there and a couple months before that and put it on layaway. So we
Right.
had put the Xbox on layaway, and he said, "Hey, your birthday's coming up. Do you want a game?" So I was like, "Yeah, I'll take a game." So he's like, "Well, go pick a game, but make it from $29 to $39. That's the best I can do." So I was looking through. That's the thing about gaming back then with those consoles. They had over 900 games, right? And
Yeah.
they didn't just come out at $79. They were You can get games for 19.99, 29.99,
Right.
39.99, 49. And then what was the most expensive? 59, $60 was for.
Yeah, I think at the time, $60 sounds about right. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was looking through the games. There was a couple for, obviously there was a couple games that I could have got, but for some reason, Knockout Kings 2002 caught my eye.
Oh,
So,
which one's the cover in that one?
Muhammad Ali.
Oh, just Ali by himself. Okay. Yeah.
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 So that caught my eye. So I ended up picking up New Knockout Kings 2002. So fast forward a couple months, you can imagine our anticipation for this console, but it's sitting there on layaway out, at Walmart.
Right.
So
Right.
we waited a few months to get it. So finally, my birthday comes up. So my dad decided, I'm having the birthday party. My brother's too old for that, so we'll just open it on my birthday. I'm not too sure. Were you there for that birthday? I
You
don't know.
As you were telling this story, I started thinking maybe this is actually my first experience with Xbox because I thought about it and it was definitely I don't remember if it was your birthday or if it was Sean's birthday, one of our old friends from childhood, but uh, it was one of the two of them. I think it might have been his birthday because I remember specifically Spider-Man the movie game. That wasn't you, right?
No, that wasn't me, but I don't recall if you were at this birthday party, because I remember one year I think you got me Goldberg, and he had the Goldberg, and he had the car. Remember he came with the car set?
Oh yes, I think I do remember that. Yes, I do remember that.
Was that this? I don't remember if that birthday, because I know
You know
I
what?
think.
I think I remember that birthday. I don't think you had the Xbox yet because I remember us being in your parents' basement playing Vigilante 8 on the 64.
Yeah. Okay, so it wasn't that birthday then.
I think it was.
No, okay.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
Okay, because that's similar story that I'm gonna say here. Because basically my birthday came and we already knew the big gift was the Xbox. We were
Right.
totally excited for it. So we were all playing Nintendo 64 still. So we were playing No Mercy and we were still playing Vigilante 8.
Obviously, so maybe it was that year. I don't know.
Yeah, so yeah, I don't remember. So we were still playing Vigilante 8 and then, it was obviously it was gift time and my parents didn't even decide to wrap the Xbox. It was still in the layaway package they used to give you.
Right,
So it was
right.
wrapped in that cardboard type paper. And buddy, open it up. You see that gorgeous Xbox box. And I had gotten a different bundle. Because I don't know if you remember, but once the Dreamcast and the Sega Saturn kind of failed, Xbox had a partnership with Sega.
Right, right.
Yeah, so this bundle actually came with Jet Set Radio and Sega GT 2002. That's a
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
that's the set I had gotten. Yeah, so we had gotten that set. So you know what we did? We quickly turned off that N64. That thing never got played again. And then you have that, but then you have that experience when you turn on that Xbox and you see that green blob and it's
Yeah.
creating, and then it goes into Xbox, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Oh,
actually how we got our first Xbox though. So
that's you bring
it
up
was
that.
sitting on layaway for a couple months, and then finally, it was my birthday. It was time to get it, and that was my first memories of our Xbox.
Yeah, you bring that up. Man, the presentation on that original Xbox between the box and like you said, the startup screen. Oh, superior to
Yeah, but
anything Microsoft ever
like
done in a
again,
console
though,
since.
it's funny. I'll take it back to Omar again because when we had got our Xbox, he was mad about it because at the time they had gotten rid of the Duke controller. They didn't use that big fat ass
The
brick
big one, the
controller.
big Duke.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they had the smaller controller, right? So we
Right.
had obviously the smaller controller system came with, and then we went out and bought a Mad Catz controller.
Oh,
I
the
don't
Mad
remember.
Cat.
Yeah, so but he was all upset because when we used to go to his house, remember I told you we used to System Link.
Yeah, yeah.
So when we went to his house and we would go System Link at his house, he'd be like, "You guys aren't real gamers. Real gamers only use the Duke. They only use the Duke if you're a
Holy
real gamer."
like, bro, they don't even make that anymore.
But yeah, that's what he would go on raving and saying. But again, with those system links, like my parents were always working, they would work 6 to 6, and everyone else on the street, like they had PS2s, but their parents didn't let us in the house. So
Right.
all the kids would come over to my house, and like I said in the previous video, we would tear it up, man. We would be playing Raw, and we'd be having 4-on-4 ladder matches. We'd be doing System Link on Halo. I remember just we would be playing rocket launchers on the original Halo and just screaming because you didn't know all you saw was rockets flying beside your head.
Blasting by.
Yeah, but but then it brings us to our generation's console wars. It was Xbox fans versus PS2 fans,
It's
right?
the first time we matched up Microsoft and Sony, and it was that battle to come for decades
Yeah,
after.
yeah, and it's still going on. And Nintendo fell out of that. Did you ever notice that? Like, no one ever compares. No one's ever like, oh, Nintendo versus PlayStation versus whatever. It's always Xbox versus Sony. It's
I think
Nintendo is not even
Nintendo
a part of that.
was I think they've always been very like aware of where they are in that market. That they know there's not room for a third party in that war. They need to look for another market essentially, and whether it's kids or families or just your casual gamer. I think the Nintendo's done a good job of targeting that. I mean, you see the sales that they had for the Wii and the Switch, and like we were talking about the GameCube, how you didn't consider the GameCube when you were looking to buy the Xbox. I was the exact same way. It was like you said too. Part of it is we were getting older. We're getting to that point where we're getting closer to being preteens, teenagers,
Yeah,
and we were looking for the more mature console to step up from playing like the Mario games. We were looking to play more mature games like shooters and stuff like that. And the Xbox and the PlayStation was definitely the system for that. But in hindsight, I mean, in hindsight, I might like the GameCube most out of those three, to be honest.
I know you would like the GameCube the most, right? But it does it because it
Those right now, like which one are you gonna
yeah,
get the most money for, right? Like,
yeah, well that's it. And like it has the games that you grew up playing on the N64 and stuff, so it's just very familiar faces on that console, right?
yeah, it's. I mean, it aged better than I didn't take into account that when I was considering what
Yeah.
console I was gonna get, which would age better. I was just worried about what was the coolest thing at the moment, and at the moment, to me, actually, it almost was obvious Xbox over PlayStation because Xbox was like the new kid on the block. You know what I mean? It was like the new exciting thing. I didn't have a
Yeah.
PlayStation One, and I knew I wasn't getting a
No.
GameCube, so it was almost a no brainer for me, actually.
Yeah, well, we only got the Xbox, like I said, because Omar introduced it to us, and then we fell in love with playing Halo and just all those memories. But everyone I knew had a PS2. But what would
Yeah,
you
it
rather
doesn't
have?
seem fun.
Obviously the Xbox is a big old box. It's heavy. It's
Yes.
it's tough to lug around. You know, when you're a kid, you gotta lug it around in your backpack. Are you happy that the Xbox had a internal hard drive instead of a memory card like the PlayStation?
I always liked that as a kid. I didn't like having the external hard drives. I mean, I wasn't always the best taking care of my stuff when I was young either. So the
Yeah.
fact that it was in the Xbox, I couldn't lose it that was bonus for me. But yeah, now in hindsight, I kind of like. I mean, I have both now, obviously as an adult, but I kind of like the option of having the external hard drive and being able to pull them in and out easily. And like they were, I don't know what they retailed for back in the day, the memory cards, but I mean now you get them
No.
very inexpensive.
Yeah, I never like the whole time I owned an Xbox, I never seen anyone own a memory card for it. Like I know
No,
there's probably people that had the memory card, but you would just lug it around in your backpack. You would
yeah.
put that sucker.
Do you
But
ever
like
have
the
any
great thing about
issues with
Xbox,
back
go
in that
ahead.
generation? I mean, I don't know about you, but back in that generation console, I never had any issues with like having too many
No.
save files or anything like that.
No, and the great thing about the Xbox, even though it had the internal hard drive, it never slowed down the console.
Yes,
Like
yeah,
it didn't matter how many games you had saved on it, it kept on playing at the same speed. So that was a good thing. And also that was big when online started coming in. And I know PlayStation, you had free online, and obviously the Xbox, you had to have a subscription. But a lot of people I talked to back then, I remember saying the PlayStation's online was very laggy. Like
uh,
it didn't work very well. But Xbox's online really changed the game because it was crisp. It never lagged. You know, it was easy to use. So Xbox really changed the game for like for gamers going forward with that online play.
yeah, absolutely. And then you talked about Halo too, and how it revolutionized the shooter. And I mean, if you look at
Yeah.
like the gaming in the last 20 years, like the fact that they would revolutionize online gaming and shooters, like that's huge. That's huge.
Yeah, you know what's a funny story? The Knockout Kings 2002 actually got me my first Dreamcast. Did I ever tell you that story?
No, no,
No, so out front on the street, we always used to play basketball. We had a basketball net, and there was this kid that used to come around once in a while, and he was looking for Xbox games.
right.
So he comes up to me and he's like, "Hey, anyone have any games to trade?" And I was like, "Yeah, well, I got Xbox games. I'll bring them out." So I brought out what I had, and he was interested in Knockout Kings 2002. So I
Right.
was like, well, I got that for my birthday. You know, I'm enjoying being, playing as Smoking Joe Frazier. So I'm like, I don't know. I was like, I don't know if I want to trade that. But I'm like, well, what do you have? And he's like, well, I don't have too much Xbox games, but I have a Sega Dreamcast. And I knew what the Dreamcast was because I was remember I told you I was at John's house recently and he
Yeah.
was playing Shenmue. So I'm like, oh, I
Right.
know what this is, but is it a good deal? Because Knockout Kings is newer, right? Because I'm so young, I have no idea.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
go so I go inside and I go to Nick and Nick's playing Xbox and I go, hey Nick, somebody wants to trade me for Knockout Kings 2002, and he's like, well, what does he want to trade you? And I'm like, he wants to trade me a Dreamcast, and he's like, he looked at me, he's like, what the fuck, what the fuck is wrong with you? Go trade that game. So so I ended up going out and trading it. So the kid comes back. I shit you not, this kid's come back with 3 bags, like 3 grocery store bags. So I'm like, what? So I go inside after we start unpacking it all. He gives me a Sega Dreamcast, 2 controllers, 2 memory cards. He gave me Sonic Adventure 2, House of the Dead, and Crazy Taxi for
Oh my god!
yeah, for Knockout Kings
He
2002.
ripped himself off so hard. Oh my god!
So
Holy
that
hell!
so I have to say I'm thankful for Knockout Kings 2002 because it really
Now
put me
you
to another era of gaming, right?
That's amazing. That's right. So original Xbox introduced you to Dreamcast.
Yeah. But it's funny. It's funny too though, because around that era, remember the Dreamcast had failed. So Sega had made a partnership with Xbox to bring over some Sega titles. So that's how we got
Right.
Shenmue. That's how
And the
we got
Sonic
like
titles.
yeah, Penzar. We got a bunch of Sega titles from that. That's how Jet Set Radio was able to get in that bundle, right? So
Right,
it,
right, right.
it's pretty yeah, it was pretty cool how they both kind of combined together. But um do you remember your favorite Xbox game or the Xbox game you put the most time in?
Um, for me, there's 3 big ones, I think, and it would be um, Star Wars: Knights of the Republic
Of course.
was my favorite RPG on that game on that system. My favorite shooter on that system was Halo 2,
Yeah.
and third would be The Simpsons Hit and Run. I friggin' loved that game.
That game
Um,
that game was that game was ported onto GameCube as well and PlayStation, right?
yeah, I believe so. Yes, yes, yes. I'm
Yeah,
almost
but
positive.
Knights of the Old Republic was an Xbox exclusive, and
Exclusive, yes.
Obviously Halo 2 was as well. So
Knights of the Republic is actually the predecessor to my favorite game of all time, Mass Effect. The original Mass Effect was actually it was supposed to be a third Knights of the Republic, and
yeah,
then it turned into Mass Effect.
like BioWare makes great games. Like I'm recently just started playing for the original Xbox. Actually, it's pretty funny. I'm actually playing Jade Empire. I don't know if you dipped into
Ooh.
that
No,
on
I
the
have.
X.
That's one I've always wanted to play, though.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
that,
currently right now. I'm playing it. So I just went online the other day and it was on sale for $2. So I'm like, I'll buy it and I'll dip into it. So I've been playing that. It reminds me of Shenmue, but obviously a less better version of it. But it's
less
a
action
it,
too, right? More turn based.
yeah, it's my type of game. It's a lot of walking around. It's very linear, the open world. So there's some ways you can steer off the path, but it kind of keeps you on the main,
Yeah,
where you're going. So it's
yeah,
not too bad. The combat's quite simple. There's a lot of dialogue. It's very slow paced. So it reminds me of Shenmue, but it's just not as versatile, I find. But it's still a
right.
good game.
Ooh, there's one I always want to ask you. I've never played it myself. My brother has always raved about it. Have you ever played for original Xbox Beyond Good and Evil?
Beyond Good. Is that the one with the girl with the camera?
Yes, yes. That's what
Yeah, yeah.
I thought maybe you had played that, but I'd
I
always
have
heard that
I
that
have
was a great one.
I have played that. Yeah, it is a good game. But
Yeah.
like if you're gonna equal that to another game, what would you equal that to on the GameCube? Probably Luigi's Mansion?
Hard for me to say. I mean, I always heard people rave about it, but I've heard people say good things about Luigi's Mansion. I mean, I actually have no experience with either, to be honest with you.
Yeah, Beyond Good and Evil is also exclusive, I think.
Yeah, yeah. That's why I
I
brought it up
believe
because I
it's
knew it
also
was an Xbox exclusive.
like you think about the games, like I know we're talking about Xbox, but obviously the main competition is PS2, but the games those titles like those consoles had, they have over 900 games,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, it's
And
true.
we're looking at these newer consoles. You
I
only
wish.
have you only have 2 or 3 developers making games. They're all full of
Yeah.
glitches,
Yeah.
right? Like EA, it doesn't matter. That new Star Wars game is full of yeah, they're all full of glitches, right? Like the new EA games, they come out with games too quickly, and then
Yeah.
we're all hyped for a single game coming out, and it doesn't live up to the hype because it's the only title out for the last 6 months.
Yeah, yeah. I worry about
Like,
things. I worry about the direction of video games now because people are getting used to it. People are willing to accept it. We should absolutely, as consumers, not accept an incomplete finished product. Like, sorry, that doesn't make
yeah,
sense. Finished because it's not an unfinished product. An incomplete release product. That's total BS. That they can even release a game that's not finished.
like I'll name off some titles here just off my head that I remember the Xbox and PlayStation time, and some of these might be exclusive, but we're looking at Xbox having Ninja Gaiden. I don't know,
Yeah,
did you ever jump into that series?
I forgot
Right?
all
And
about
then
that. Yeah,
you had Chronicle of Riddick.
yeah,
You had the Underground series, Tony Hawk and Need for Speed,
yeah.
right? You had Shenmue, you had Jade Empire, you had Conquer, you had Fable. Don't forget fucking Fable, right?
Oh man, yeah. Fable.
We
Yeah.
had Panzer, we had Dungeons and Dragons, we had Splinter Cell, we had Far Cry, Dead or
Oh,
Alive,
Splinter Cell. I
Oddworld.
forgot all about Splinter Cell
Yeah.
too. Woo!
We had Oddworld. We had Crazy Taxi came over from the Sega deal.
Yeah,
We had we
yeah.
had Elder Scrolls, Morrowind. Did you ever play
Right.
Morrowind?
Morrowind. Yeah, I played
Yeah.
Morrowind. I didn't play it at the time. I've gone back and played Morrowind though. After
Yeah.
playing
And then
Skyrim.
we had Counter Strike made its way onto the Xbox.
Yeah,
We had Amped. Do you remember
yeah.
NBA Inside Drive? I know you're a big sports player. Do you remember NBA Inside Drive?
My Drive was the one with Shaq on the cover of the
Yeah.
Lakers.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
I
had
remember that.
Shaq, they had Paul Pierce, they had Vince Carter.
Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, I might get Carter mixed up with Yuri's on live, but I think I played the one with Shaq on the cover.
Yeah, and like
That's
what else did we have?
exclusive,
We had
eh?
Dance Dance Revolution. We had
Oh, was that the
what?
first console to have Dance Dance Revolution too? Or?
Yeah, it was exclusive to Xbox.
Right, right.
Um, we had Serious Sam, Unreal
Oh,
Championship. Did you ever play
yeah.
Unreal
There you
Championship?
go. Yeah.
We had what?
Forgot.
Outrun. Like there was a great list of titles. Did you ever play this game? This was one of my favorites. Stubbs the Zombie. Did you ever play
No,
that for Xbox?
no. I don't think I know that one actually. I don't think I.
No, you should if you can get your hands on it or if there's like a remaster, buy that. I think you'll like it. Like basically this is obviously your zombie, you come back to life in like I think it's in like 1959 in like a futuristic like 1959-ish. It's
Right.
really good. You can do some really funny shit and cool shit in it, man. Stubbs the
Oh,
zombie,
that's fun.
try that out.
Is it like? It's like. Is it partially comedy based? Is it like a destroy all humans
Yeah.
kind of thing, like that? Kind of.
Yeah, it's like that, but basically you kind of come alive to seek revenge, and you can eat humans' brains. So you can do a lot of crazy shit in it, man. Look it up. It's called Stubbs the Zombie. It's a really good game, and also I don't know. Did you ever play Rogue Trooper
No,
for
I
the?
don't think. I. Oh, I know of that game, but I've never played it. No.
Yeah,
As soon as.
it's with the blue characters. I don't know if you ever seen that.
Right.
They're like it's a first person shooter. That game's really good, and also I know it was on 360, but I think it fell on Xbox Gun. Did you ever play
Oh,
Gun?
love Gun. Yeah, love Gun.
Gun, yeah,
It was like a crazier. It was like Red Dead, but like more like over the top characters and stuff.
yeah.
Eh?
That was a
Yeah,
really good game. I
that was.
remember I remember the priest. I think he was like the final boss, and I couldn't beat him. But I had borrowed it from a friend, so I called him over to help me beat it. And he's
Right.
like, why is your character so like level so low?" I'm like, "I don't know. I'm just playing." He's like, you're supposed to level up your character throughout the game." So I never leveled up my character throughout the game. I was just playing it. So what happened was we were just struggling to beat him for hours, and he finally he had glitched. He was on his horse, but he glitched in between a rock. So I kept on hitting him with my tomahawk, and I ended up beating the game, yo. That's how I beat the game because he got glitched in a
Stuck
rock,
on a
and I ended up
rock.
beating him.
I feel
Also,
like.
did you
Oh,
ever
you got.
play? Castlevania. It was called Castlevania Curse of Darkness. I got it for Christmas one year, and I was really getting into the game. Again, I never leveled up my character because I was just playing it, right? But I got
Right.
to this one. I got to this one boss named Isaac, and I could not beat this guy to save my life, buddy. I could not beat this guy. I gave up on the game for about 4 months, and then randomly, I got back into it. And I was playing it, and I find and buddy, I tell you, I've never felt this in any game. I beat him, and I was on my bed, and my hands were shaking. My whole body was trembling. I I couldn't beat him. And then I gave it up for 4 months, and I was like, I'm never playing this game again. And then I ended up beating him the first try I put it in after four
Man,
months, and I was trembling,
it's crazy how it works
trembling.
sometimes. You just got to put that controller down, walk away, and then
Yeah.
have fresh mind.
And another big thing with the Xbox, I don't know if you remember. Remember when Xbox purchased Rare? Do you remember when they purchased Rare Development?
It was in that time period.
Or
I knew that it had
yeah,
happened, but I didn't realize it was in that window.
but it was kind of disappointing later on for well, more for the Xboxes. We didn't get any of the Rare classics. We only got Conquerors, bad Conquer.
Yeah,
That's all we got.
yeah.
What did Rare make?
I'm
Conquer and Grab by the Ghoulies. Do you remember Grab by the Ghoulies?
I don't remember that. I don't remember that one. I don't think. No.
No, because when you think of Rare,
I think
you think of
Spyro.
We think of Donkey Kong. Yeah, we didn't
Spyro.
we didn't get it. Yeah, we didn't get Donkey
Spyware?
Kong. We
Wait,
didn't
is
get Spyro.
Spyware?
No, I don't think maybe. I don't know. Might have to look that up.
Maybe I'm going crazy. Yeah, Donkey Kong 64 and Banjo.
Yeah. We
Right?
didn't
Banjo.
get did yeah, Banjo. We didn't get Banjo. Well, we ended up getting Banjo later on the 360,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
we didn't get it on Xbox.
Oh
We
no,
didn't get Banjo. Do you remember Diddy Kong Racing? We didn't get any kind of port for that.
I love that game.
And do you remember? I know you remember this gem, but I don't know. Do you remember Mickey Speedway
Yes,
on
yes.
N64?
I didn't own it,
Yes.
but I had a friend that owned it. And yeah, I love
Yeah.
those car racers, man. Those were all
We
awesome.
didn't we didn't we didn't get that. And a game I was looking forward to getting on Xbox that we got years later was Killer Instinct. You know how I love Killer Instinct.
Yeah, we didn't that didn't come on Xbox for geez, I mean until Xbox One, right?
Yeah, decades.
Yeah.
It didn't come on for decades, right? And we also didn't get Star Fox, so that just stayed on GameCube. So there's a
Yeah,
lot of games
yeah.
I think we thought we were gonna get from that Rare purchase, but we never ended up getting.
Yeah, yeah. But at the same time, all those
But
games you named out, there's a hell of a lot of variety on the original Xbox and a lot of like sleeper titles, games that people forget all about
oh,
that were
sure.
excellent games.
Well, that's the thing, right? Because I was on this thing when I was just buying $9 to $19 games for
Right.
like
Right.
a long time, and some of them are great, some of them are really bad, right? You're like, oh,
Yeah.
that's why it's $19, right? But
Yeah.
some of them are really great titles.
Yeah.
But that's a difference from having so many developers. You're allowing them to make video games for your console instead of just having Ubisoft or EA make your games, and you
Yeah, make
only have a
everything.
right. So it's really different how gaming's gone from then and now. But what's your initial thoughts of Microsoft? Like I know when the PS4 was coming out and Xbox at that E3, and they were like, we're not going to have backwards compatibility. If you want to play your 360 games, go get a 360. We're not going to have used games on our console. That's when I really felt that Microsoft, my opinion, was shitting on the fan base. So
Yeah.
I switched over to the PS4. I
Yeah.
don't know. What did you feel about that?
Well, I mean, I do think that it's just kind of where the industry's going in a way. Like I don't think they even operate that much differently than Sony, do they? Like how much backwards compatibility is there on the Sony? Like I feel like I play a fair bit of backwards compatibility on Xbox. I know it's not like you can't just put in your old games and play them, but there's a fair bit available on there. And
No, but
the
you
industry's
got you
so
got to remember though, when Xbox did that, Sony came.
right.
They basically shit on Xbox and was like, Yeah, you can play your old games on the PS4. Oh,
Right.
and if you wanna go to your friend's house and play their game on the that's allowed, right? They, like, basically
Yeah.
shit on and then Xbox changed their mind, right? But do you
Yeah.
remember, like do you remember, like, a game that you stayed home from school or you faked sick to play on your Xbox? Was there any game that you just stayed inside all summer? Anything like that, that you were just, "I couldn't get enough of that game?"
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not going to be an answer that impresses anybody. Madden.
Of
That was
course.
I mean we talked about my favorite game episode. My favorite era of Madden is the 2005 to 2008, and those are all on that generation. I played all of those games on original Xbox. I didn't play any of them on PC, PlayStation, nothing. It was all on original Xbox. My original Xbox saw countless hours of Madden.
Of course it did. Of
Yeah,
course it did. You know already that, I stayed home a week from school to play Shenmue 2 when I got it.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But a funny story was my brother Brandon wanted Project Gotham Racing 2 for
Oh,
Xbox, and I think it came out on the 18th of November, and his birthday is the 22nd.
right, right.
So my dad had bought it for him, and he ended up staying a week home from school
Ooh, got a week
to
for
play it,
a game. It's not even a story
and then
mode
my
campaign.
well, my dad, I remember my dad one time was like, because my dad used to work nights, so he came on the morning. He's like, "What are you still doing here? Go to school." He's like, "I'm not going to school." Chris took a week off, and my
Chris had his
and,
Shamu week.
yeah, and my dad. All right, whatever. Just don't tell your mom.
Oh,
So my brother ended up taking a week off, fucking playing Project Gotham Racing.
oh man.
Do you did you ever get the red rings on your original Xbox? I know you probably got it on your
Original.
360.
Yeah, who didn't
Oh, you
on
never got it on the
360?
original.
No, I never did anything with my I never modded it. I never did anything. Did you do any? That's what I was going to ask you as well. Did you ever soft mod? Is that or anything like that?
I have two stories then. I have stories for everything. I've been everywhere. I've done everything.
With the
No,
original Xbox, at least.
yeah. We used to go for weekends up at my uncle's place in Bell River. So that's around the Windsor area by the border.
Right.
So we used to go up there. So we took our original Xbox up there, and he had took it to a game shop, and he said he was gonna get it, modded for us. So he ended up modding it for us, and it was amazing, buddy. I can tell you right now that I never had to buy games again.
Right.
We were able to, you know, use torrents. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna say anything else. But we were able to use torrents and to get whatever we wanted.
You
That's
get an idea
so
of what that might be, young man.
yeah. So we never had to buy games again. But before we had it modded, I actually had the red rings, and
Oh,
I'll tell you
before
what
the mod
happened.
you had it, eh?
Yeah. No, when we modded it, it worked great. It
Really?
worked great. Like we had a new interface screen. Everything was different. Like we were
Right.
able, when you turn it on and where you get the red rings, we were able to turn it multiple colors. Like it was
Got it
modded
right,
to
eh?
the
Wow.
yeah, we had it crazy modded, man. And what had happened was before the mod, uh I had gotten the Dreamcast, so I was switching from consoles to consoles playing different games. So I remember one night I came in and the Dreamcast was plugged in. So I unplugged the Dreamcast and I went to go plug the power cord into the wall and it sparked and the Xbox went dead.
Ooh, surged it.
And I was like, oh shit. So I unplugged it and I plugged it back in. I powered it on and then it was flashing the red rings. And I was like, oh God, I fucked up the Xbox. And my, my family was so mad because we had to get the Xbox. My dad had to put it on fucking layaway, right?
Right.
So like, he didn't have money to go buy a new Xbox. So we got lucky because the next Sunday, remember when the towns used to have the Sunday Sun paper things, and you'd go to the machine and put in whatever, and you'd get a newspaper.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you remember? Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I went and got. We used to have one up the street from my house, and I went there and I got the Toronto Sun for my dad, and he was flipping through it, and I guess he went to the entertainment section or whatever, and there was a small little patch, free Xbox repairs by Microsoft. Because what had happened was, I guess they were having where the motherboard was failing.
Mm. So I have
So my dad contacted them, and he ended up sending it out, and we got it fixed for free.
pretty nice. Nice.
Yeah, so we got very lucky that day that my dad actually wanted the paper. So we sent it out. It took about maybe 2 or 3 months to get it back,
Right.
but we ended up getting our Xbox back. So
Right.
we didn't end up fucking having to pay nothing.
Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, I never had that issue with my original Xbox, but I had to ship out my 360 twice. I think I had to mail it out.
Yeah, that was a bad problem, man, for those
And
consoles.
it's funny that it like they just couldn't get rid of it either. It was on the next generation console too, and yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that
I
was
remember
like,
like, do you, man, this this is bad, yo. Do you remember? I know you know Raw too.
oh yeah,
So do you remember when you were able to steal through people's bags
yeah,
and Raw too?
yeah,
And then you would get the entrance videos.
yeah. They're Titantron videos.
Yeah, so I used to set up my wrestling toys underneath my TV in my room,
Yes,
and then I
yes, I do. Go on,
and
go.
then I used to have the rampway, and I would play the music from the TV and have them come down as the entrance. You did that too, didn't you?
Hell yeah, because there's no YouTube. You couldn't get that stuff on YouTube and stuff. Yes,
Yeah.
that's exactly what I did. That's
And
awesome.
this is the Boys Podcast exclusive. I also used to beat my meat to Lita and Trish Stratus's music.
Me too. Corey Wilson.
Yeah, so I used to put that on there, and I'd be, oh yeah, it's gonna be a fun night, man. Fuck,
Oh, oh.
fuck.
At least you
Good
didn't.
old, good old,
As long as you didn't
good
say.
old Raw
I
too.
just said Lita, and you didn't say like A Train or something like that.
Nah, man, maybe once or twice I did it to Jazz. Who knows?
Hey, Jazz, is okay, yo. Sometimes you like. Oh, that's one I should have probably even mentioned in my top three, to be honest. Fight for
Mhm.
New York. Oh, that's my. I'm not a huge fighting game guy, but that's my favorite fighting game of all time. I mean,
Oh yeah,
awesome campaign. The characters, just having all the rappers from the time period us growing up. Like, I was a
yeah,
huge Method Man, Redman guy, huge Wu Tang guy. I love that Sticky Fingers was in it because Sticky Fingers is a guy that's widely forgotten nowadays. I love
yeah,
Sticky Fingers back in the day. I love that he had a prominent role in that game. The game was just incredible. You could have like you could date Carmen Electra and, and
yeah.
stuff. Like,
Did you ever fail that mission or pick the wrong thing and you end up getting Shaniqua?
Shaniqua, yeah, yeah, you lose the girl back fight and you end up with Shaniqua. Yeah, and then the
I ended
next
up
morning
not.
you get the
Yeah,
message from Method Man the next morning saying like, "Oh, that woman you left with, nasty."
that game. It's crazy how much that game is actually forgotten.
Yeah, yeah.
Like only like the true fans that really enjoyed that game will know about it. But man, did people forget about Fight for New York?
Yeah, and it's a game like you'll never like that. That game will got to hold its value too, because that game you'll never see remastered because no one's ever gonna get the rights to use all those guys' names again. It's
No.
never gonna happen. Those guys aren't even all signed to Def Jam anymore.
Yeah, it's
Like,
weird. I always wondered though. I was surprised DMX was never in it because he was under Def Jam. I believe he was under Def Jam at that time.
no, but I always heard a rumor that there was a character in it that was initially modeled to be DMX, and at the last minute they changed it and made him one of the because there was a array of fictional characters in the game as well,
Yeah.
and that changed that character model to one of the fictional characters. That is the story I always heard. I don't know if that's just a rumor or not, but man, can you
Yeah.
imagine like the perfect guy to be in a rap fighting game. DMX. Him
Yeah,
bark like a dog at the beginning of it. Oh my god, that would have been amazing. That would have put the game over the edge. That would have been my number one original Xbox game, probably.
yeah. His catchphrases would have been amazing in that game.
Oh, they would have worked perfectly. If I could pick any rapper that worked perfectly for that game, it would be him.
Like that game is the perfect like example that a sequel should have never been made. Like when that Def Jam Icons came out, that game fucking sucked so bad.
Yeah,
Did you
yeah.
ever play that piece of shit?
Yeah, it's one of those things where if you like the last game so much, the concept is so strong. It's like you just want to force yourself to like it, but it was just that bad you couldn't like.
Yeah. Fuck, man. Dude, talk to me a little bit about the Xbox controller. Like I always wanted to ask because I know when people ask me, I always go at any Xbox except the Duke. But I go any Xbox controller is the best controller I've ever felt in my hands. Is
You
that the
don't like the
same for you?
Duke, like you don't like the Duke at all, eh?
No, man. The only thing big I like to hold is my beep. But
Well, you're watching Lita videos, Lita
yeah.
Titantrons.
But no,
Yeah,
I don't mind. I don't mind. I didn't mind the Duke, but like I was really small when I was little, so it was very hard for me to game with it, right? But
right, right. I
I
can see
feel
that.
like the 360 controller and the newer Xbox controller, it just feels perfect in your hand. I don't know. I feel like Nintendo has always had the worst controllers. I don't know. I don't know. I think
Yeah,
they like to be like innovative, but their controllers end up being like very difficult to work with. What's your
I mean,
thought on Xbox as a controller?
yeah, definitely. Like you're saying with Nintendo, I mean, I came from 64, which is the most awkward controller of all time, to original Xbox. So, I mean, you knew it's going to be improvement as iconic as that N64 controller is. Like, it was anything is pretty much an improvement over it shape wise. Like, I don't have three hands, like,
Yeah,
but I would say that was up until that point that was the most comfortable controller I'd ever used, and I would say the 360 was maybe a slight improvement on it, maybe it fit in the hands a little bit better, and then the Xbox One is essentially the same controller as the
yeah,
360.
it
The
feels good.
I never had the Duke to start actually. I had all the smaller controllers for the original Xbox, and then over time, I actually had a cat at the time. I think you remember my cat.
Yeah, yeah,
She used to chew on the cords and stuff. So I think my controllers eventually kicked the bucket from getting chewed on, stuff like that. And I bought the Duke used off of a girl from school, I'm pretty sure. And yeah, that's how I ended up with the Duke. I still have the Duke actually. If I ever boot up my original Xbox, that's all I have working for it right now is the Duke. But yeah, I would say
yeah,
that's probably my favorite controller too is the Xbox. And I wouldn't it's hard for me to pick original Xbox 360. Like they're both very similar too.
yeah. Do you I remember at the time too. I don't know if it's any truth to it, but would you have wanted an Xbox handheld system?
I don't
Because I
know. I
know
don't
that
know what
remember
they've
you gotta remember like
envisioned, right?
the
Like,
PSP came out, but it didn't last very long, and then the Game Boy is still around and stuff like that. But like,
yeah. And when did the PSP come out? The PSP came out with alongside the PS3 or the PS.
yeah, I think it was around the PS3. Would you have been what? But would you have been interested in an Xbox handheld?
I mean, if it came out at the same period as the PSP, perhaps. If it came out the same era we were talking with the original Xbox, I would say no because what would that even look like? Like they didn't have a library of like side scrollers to translate to a handheld. Like and I don't think at that point the capability for 3D on the handheld probably wouldn't have been there quite yet, right? Like not until at least like we were saying about the PSP era, the original
Yeah,
Xbox era. I don't know if it would have been there yet. So I don't even know what that would have looked like. But I know it sure wouldn't have been able to contend with the Game Boy Advance at the time.
yeah. Well, let me
Would have
throw.
definitely.
I'm gonna throw out some bangers at you here. I want to get just your pick. Okay, Splinter Cell or Metal Gear Solid?
I feel biased saying, but I mean Splinter Cell for me. I rented that from Video Flicks in Elkona so many times. So I mean, I mean, yeah, I guess I gotta go Splinter Cell. I don't even feel right saying it, but yeah.
You gotta go
How about
split.
you?
Okay, Hit and Run or Crazy Taxi?
Oh, again, it feels wrong saying it, but I have to go Hit and Run. Hit and Run's my baby. But Crazy Taxi and Crazy Taxi is, I mean, without Crazy Taxi, there is no Simpsons Hit and Run.
Yeah, that's it. Skate or the Tony Hawk series?
Ooh, I gotta go Tony Hawk, man. Skate. I mean, Skate is a more realistic depiction of skateboarding, but Tony Hawk is just it just captured an era so perfectly. The music, the
Yeah,
environment, the skaters, just how hype skating was at the time too. Like,
I will
yeah,
say though, when Tony Hawk, when Underground and Underground 2 came out, that those two games blew my mind because you know I was a big skateboarder, and then the availability to finally create your own character, and
yeah,
then you were actually able. It was open world. Oh
you get
man,
off the
that
board.
game. And same with Underground, Need for Speed Underground. Those games,
Yeah, Need for Speed Underground. Whew, I'm surprised it took us this long to bring that up.
like I didn't ever even play the story mode. I just drove around and fucking souped
Down.
up my little
Yeah,
car. That was it.
yeah, man, that was an unreal game. That's a game that like people that don't even aren't even into like nostalgic retro video games, like they hear you bring out that, oh man, I remember that game. Like
Yeah,
everybody I knew had that game.
that game is crazy good, man.
Yeah.
Crazy good, man.
I got
Did you ever jump into the Far Cry series on original Xbox?
not on original Xbox. No, no, no.
No.
I meant to go back and play that first one. How about you?
I played a little bit of it, but like I wasn't really like crazy into it at the time. But
Yeah.
it is a good series though. It is a good series, but like again, like it's like how I feel about Assassin's Creed. You know, when you first played the first one or two, it was amazing, but now there's like 40 of them. And you're like, I
Right.
don't know.
I
It's
know where to go
overdone.
from here. Yeah.
But Far Cry is good. I wonder, like, this game came out almost at the end of the X. A lot of people know about it. Like when I first played it, it had amazing graphics. Did you ever get into Black?
Oh
Did you?
yes. Yeah. Sick
Yeah,
game. That's
but
just
it came out like months. It felt like months just before the 360 was coming
yeah.
out.
Yeah.
It should have been it should have definitely been a launch title for the 360.
360. Yeah. It never even did it even get ported on the 360? I know it's ported onto my Xbox One, but
No, no, I don't think so. But that game was actually very good, and the graphics were amazing, man.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, like you said, later in the console generation, they were able to get everything they could out of the graphics, full
Yeah.
capabilities.
All right, Halo or Call of Duty?
Oh man, I'm a Halo guy all the way, 100%. I don't even have to think twice about that.
All right, this one's gonna be tricky. This will be the last one I'm throwing out there. Elder Scrolls, this any of them, or Zelda?
Shit. If if there was no Ocarina of Time, it'd be a no brainer for me. But like,
Yeah.
oh, I gotta go Zelda. I gotta go Zelda. I can't pick against
Yeah.
Zelda. I mean, I love Elder Scrolls. I love Skyrim so much, but nah, it's
Well,
I gotta go Zelda. I gotta go
did you
Zelda.
did you ever jump into Ninja Gaiden or no? I know, like I jumped into it a lot, but man, is that game difficult. It is a hard
Yeah,
game.
I
Did
played
you
the
ever
older
jump
one
into it?
and played it on Xbox. No, I only played like the old
No.
ones. Yeah,
Uh,
difficult one, eh? Is it
yeah.
side scroll or is it?
No, no, it's linear open world, but it's hard, man.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, it's a difficult game, man. But it's good though, man. But like the titles on the Xbox, like I think it's the Xbox falls in a weird spot because it's one of those systems that I think everyone forgets about, and I don't know how. You ever feel that like that
Yeah,
it
I
just
do.
gets no love? I feel like PS2 gets a lot of love because they had the Grand Theft Autos, you know, they had
Yeah,
God of War, but like Xbox kind of falls in the shadow of that. I don't know. I'm not too
Yeah,
sure why,
it's
but
kind of sad.
it did have great titles. Like it was a great console, man.
And very innovative. Like if it wasn't for the original Xbox, like we said, where would online gaming be? Where would the modern shooter be?
That's it. Like Halo changed the game.
Absolutely. I don't even remember using two sticks ever in a shooter before Halo.
Yeah, and you know what too? When we're on this, when Xbox bought Rare, we didn't even get Perfect Dark on Xbox. We got it as a launch title for 360. Do you remember that?
Yeah, yeah, true. I
Yeah,
didn't even think
we
of
didn't.
that. That's one that you would think would translate great over to original Xbox.
Yeah, we didn't get fucking Perfect Dark. We didn't get a lot of fucking games, but like the Xbox to me is such a amazing console. It changed my life for gaming. And, that console got me my first Dreamcast. Like, there's
There
so
you
many
go.
things. That console was my life growing up. Like, it was go to the beach, come back home with everybody, play video games, tear up my house, and then do it all over again.
Yeah.
The memories that I have of that console and just playing Halo, playing Raw, playing Mortal Kombat, Deadly Alliance, playing Marvel, Capcom versus. There's so many great games that I played for hours upon hours, and to have that console kind of just be forgotten. I understand, but if you look at it, do you think the 360 surpassed it enough that not even consider the Xbox, or
No,
what do you think?
I don't think. No, I don't think it's like this vast. I mean, of course, it's a superior console. It comes. It's a successor, but I don't think it like blows the original Xbox out of the water by any means. I think it is kind of like you said. I think that Xbox just has like it's just unfortunate timing. I think maybe like you said, so many people had the PlayStation 2, and then the combination of the PlayStation 2 being so popular and the GameCube being the one that aged well and held its value. I think that's what's kind of made Xbox kind of forgettable in hindsight. But when you break things down, you look at it, it's like it's arguably a more impactful system than the other two, easily
Yeah.
on the course of gaming history. I'm
Before we close, tell us about your love for Star Wars, the Old Republic, or
Oh, Knights of the Republic. Yeah, so
yeah,
that was one of my first introductories to like full blown like RPG and stuff. And it's just a great Star Wars game. You there's no other Star Wars games like Knights of the Republic. Just the amount of detail into the characters and the way you can upgrade everything, upgrade your weapons, upgrade your force powers and stuff. It's every other Star Wars game is very action based, and it is definitely way more heavily story based. And I think it offers a great story. It's the whole story, obviously, Old Republic. It's all predating. It happens like I think thousands, if not hundreds, of years before the original trilogy. So it offers totally new characters, new dynamic to the plot and stuff, but at the same time stays true to its material. Probably because it's before Disney bought it and fucked everything up. But
but
yeah, you know, saying they gave the sequel too. Like the sequel, they did a pretty damn good job. And like I remember booting up the second one after playing the first one, and it was like it was the first game I ever played where it's like all my decisions in the first game carried over to the second game. I remember
that's
being blown away by that. I'm like, how did they do that? I like it was
that's
brand new concept
craziness.
to me at the time.
So like that game is a Xbox. We know that's an exclusive. Did you ever find similarities between, because it's BioWare? Did you ever find similarities between that game and later on Mass Effect? Was there any similarities in
Oh, in the I find
gameplay and such?
the first Mass Effect to Knights of the Republic are it's pretty similar. I mean, you could tell like they were coming from the turn-based combat when they started doing the first Mass Effect. So the combat in the first Mass Effect's a little choppy. You can tell they're just getting used to it, but everything else about the game is just like Knights of the Republic. Like just like it. I mean, they obviously changed all the plot, all the characters and stuff, but you could reskin that game and change a few characters' names, and it could be a Star Wars game.
Yeah. Did you ever play online for that? The older Knights of the Old Republic? Because I remember it's
Oh,
exclusive.
you're talking about the MMO, or
Yeah, well, either one, whatever one. Did you ever play online of any of those or no? Because I know you're not an online guy, but that was one of the
no?
bigger online games for Xbox, right?
Well, Knights of the Republic.
One of them, or no? There's an online one, wasn't there, for Xbox Star Wars?
Well, Battlefront came out for
No, but there
original
was one
Xbox
that
as
was
well.
exclusive online. I think it was one of the Old Republics, but I
Oh,
might be wrong.
you might. Yeah, I don't know because I don't think it was had online because it was such a story-based MMO or RPG. But they did that the MMO afterwards on PC.
Okay, maybe I'm getting the PC mixed up. So you never jumped into that then, eh?
No, but my brother had. He loved it. He said it was a lot like Knights of the Republic for the most part. When you're doing the missions off by yourself and stuff, it feels a lot like the original games. I don't know. I don't even know if they
That's not.
how those games work. If the server's still up for that or not anymore.
I'm gonna say no, but no, I thought it
Probably
was.
not.
I thought it was online. I thought it was online for Xbox, but I never really jumped into the Star Wars games back then because I wasn't a big Star Wars fan until I reached high school, right? So
Right until later on.
I never
Yeah,
really jumped into that stuff. But we do have a Star Wars episode coming up, so
yeah.
everyone's
May the
gonna
fourth
find
week.
out. Yeah, everyone's gonna find out about that. But I guess we're in an hour in here. I guess we'll start concluding it.
Yeah. Probably good
Did
to
you
wrap
have
up.
anything? Did you have anything you wanted to bring up, or because I was gonna ask you, put you on the spot here for your top five Xbox games.
Okay.
You
I've had more
in you
time.
to you.
Okay, I've had more time to think about this now because I gave my top three earlier. I feel like I need to maybe make some adjustments. So we know already. I guess I got to put number one because we did my favorite games of all time last week, and the Madden series was number two. So I got to put the Madden series number one for my original Xbox.
Yeah.
And I will probably go uh, maybe Battlefront 2, Knights of the Old Republic, Hit and Run, Halo 2, or Halo 2 Hit and Run interchangeable maybe.
Okay. Okay. That's a fair list. That's a lot of big hits on Xbox that you can get many summers out of.
Absolutely. How about you? How about you? What does your five look like?
Shenmue 2,
Of course.
uh, the Halo series. I'm gonna throw Ninja Gaiden in there. I'm gonna throw Stubbs the Zombie in there.
Oh wow, that is you have it in your top five. Hey, I gotta play this game.
Yeah, I am telling you, it's a really, really, really good game, man. And at number five's a toss up here between Rogue Trooper because I really like that game too, but I'm actually gonna put in Fable as number five.
Fable, good pick, good choice.
Yeah, like what do you think about Fable? Because I know Fable 1 was really good. Fable 2 was amazing. I was so rich in Fable 2. I owned the biggest castles. I owned everything. 3 but 3 was okay, but that was another RPG style game that didn't get a lot of love on Xbox, but a decision making really changed the game. Like
Yeah,
the story mode, you could become evil, you could become good, you could have sex
get
and have kids
older.
with prostitutes and stuff. There was a lot of interesting
Yeah,
things you could do in Fable. Did you ever jump into that?
I played a little bit of it. I mean, I actually wasn't a huge fantasy guy back in the day. Like I was always more of a sci-fi guy. The fantasy did not always appeal to me as much. I've always wanted to go back and play all of them as an adult and see what I think. I remember it being a very popular game with a group of people, bit of like a cult classic, I guess. But yeah, you're right. It's not a game that gets a lot of love now, and it's. I
Yeah,
mean, I can't.
I was thinking Xbox was when it first came out. Like I remember when I was playing the first Fable, I'm like, whoa, this is the next Zelda, right? But like I think that was
Right.
Xbox attempt because that was actually made by I think it was produced by Microsoft Studios. So
Oh,
it
you're right.
was a
It's a Microsoft
yeah,
game. Yeah,
it was a
yeah.
Microsoft project that I think they thought was gonna be the next kind of Zelda for their console, but it
Yeah.
ended up not being there. What's your thoughts on, when we look at Xbox as a whole, from the original Xbox, I'm gotta say Master Chief is our mascot. Would you agree with that? Master
Yeah.
Chief's the
Oh
mascot?
man. I think hands down. I mean, what would be number two, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at. It would have to be Master Chief. Like you got
Yeah.
Master Chief, Nintendo would you would assume it'd be Mario.
Mario.
But yeah, obviously have some heavy hitters, but you would
Absolutely.
assume it'd be. But who would be PlayStation's? Like the battle of the
Kratos.
mascots. Like is that Solid Snake? Is that Crash Bandicoot? Is that Spyro? Like who is that Kratos? It
Kratos.
could be it could
Could
be
be Kratos
Kratos.
now.
Like
Yeah, it could
that
be
would that
Kratos
would
now.
that would that would definitely have to be it. But like if we
Back in
put
the
them
day,
in super
piece of crap.
if they're in Super Smash Bros, who wins that? Mario, Master Chief, or Kratos?
Woo! I
I'd
think
have to
Master
I'd have
Mickey Grid
I'd have
is fuck.
yeah, I'd have to go with Kratos, I think. I think I think he would have him, but if it was in Fusion Frenzy Battle Royal, Master Chief would have it for sure.
I think Mario takes the cake no matter what. He seems
Yeah.
like he's the
Fusion Frenzy.
Yeah, why was that in your top five? Top five most painful games?
No, I actually love Fusion Frenzy, but like it
You just
is
don't like
it's like
losing in it.
it's like when you it's like when you play Pokemon Stadium and you're all playing the same games and it's like, what the fuck am I always losing for, right? It's fucking
Yeah. Yeah, you can't tap the
no,
buttons like other people, I guess. Half those
yeah.
games are just tapping the buttons, really.
Why we all got together in high school and played Fusion Frenzy, right? In your
Yeah,
basement. Is that what you talk about?
back in the day. Hell
Is that what
yeah.
you're talking about?
And
That I got my ass kicked in it?
I remember you brought home Fusion Frenzy because I think we were playing on 360s it was for original Xbox. We knew it was backwards compatible, so we threw in the 360. We were all playing, a huge group of us. You were so hyped to get it, and then you kept losing over and over. And you're like, "Fuck! I fucking hate this game. This game fucking." It wasn't like Dan USC undisputed meltdown or anything, but just maybe
Well,
5% of that.
exclusively, I think didn't Xbox have a few UFC games back then exclusive?
I don't know because PlayStation had them. I think PlayStation had like
Did
UFC
they have it?
Capo, and
Okay, so
yeah, so I think it might have been
Xbox didn't
on.
have it, I don't think.
Yeah, even PlayStation even had like a K1 game.
Oh, did they? Maybe.
I always
Well,
wanted to
yeah,
play it. I think there's a Pride game too. Even I always wanted to play those.
I could see that because play like that's a difference with PlayStation. They had a lot of Japanese developers making games for them, right? So
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
every time. I don't know if you feel the same way, but every time you go on there and you see like an anime type game, you're like, "Oh, I want to buy this," and you go look at it, and it says Bandai Namco, and you're like, "I'm staying away from it." Oh fuck, man. They're such a hit or miss. Sometimes they make good games, and sometimes they're just fucking terrible, man.
Yeah, I mean, these in the modern day of gaming, that's probably the best you can ask for, to be honest.
Yeah, well,
Some
fuck.
companies that are huge companies just put out garbage,
Yeah, fuck. Well,
or maybe we're just old and angry at too angry games, too grumpy old boys.
two grumpy old boy talking about Xbox, man. But
Yeah,
I think we should end it around here. I
yeah,
think
definitely.
we
Yeah,
I don't know how much Xbox really talked about. We kind of got carried away talking about the bunch of other stuff, but
that's
um
probably
just a love
because we had zero preparation.
well, well, all of our podcasts are straight off the dome, always off here. We don't prep nothing. We come here, raw and real, man. We just tell it how it is or how we feel. That's how our podcast is. But there's no love, there's no lost love for this console. I think it's one of our favorites. We just named off, some of our favorite games that are probably your favorite games. I think we're gonna be back next week with a special episode about talking about turning 30.
Turn of
Dan
three.
and I Yeah, Dan and I recently turned 30, so we're gonna do a little special episode about talking about, maybe growing up, maybe life as being a gamer or sports fan. We'll figure out something, but it'll be a fun episode.
Yeah, I look forward to switching up a little bit. It's been
Yeah,
all about the games last few weeks. I'm sure we'll still bring up some games, I'm sure, at some point. But yeah, it'll be
yeah.
nice to get a little bit of variety, get a little special episode for y'all.
And then we'll have another special upcoming in May with Star Wars. I know Dan's looking forward to that episode.
Oh yeah. We have
Yeah,
to crack
so
with the old lightsaber.
that's gonna be a fun episode. So I want to thank everyone for tuning in, everyone who hopefully watches it. And I know we didn't talk too much about Xbox. We kind of got away from a lot of stuff, but we still love the console and we still play it to this day. So I want to say thank you to everyone, and we'll see you next time.
Peace out, boys.